Okay guys, I'm back with another complicated tutorial, and since I'm going to create a Metroid Prime map based on lava, so this is how to make a 3D character take damage, and after you obtain a certain amount of damage, it will trigger to an event. So that's obviously math. Math on a trigger. So math on a trigger is very easy. A curved data source. And this is how you usually make cameras fade in and fade out. You know, when in a movie, how it fades in, fades out. So I used two area hit triggers. I call them area hit triggers because on the on switch, I tied the trigger. If you make in contact with any lava type, it will trigger the on switch. And the off switch, which is like the in and out sequence, every time you hit one of these brick platforms, which is the land, it will trigger the off switch. So this tutorial is all about on and off switch knowledge, right? So since we have an on switch, we're going to have a multitask event that selects up to 8 events at once, right? So we have that for the on and off, and that's all it is on and off. So basically, when the player touches the lava, it will turn some sort of animation on, an effect on, a sound on, and the actual damage meter will start draining down, and the same thing off. So that's the on and off generic stuff. Alright, so this is a first person game, so everything will be following my first person. Area fire select, this is an effect that will be following my game character, right? Fire, it will turn on the fire on and off, right? This is the primary score, okay? So when we go into track settings, we go to select score. We're going to have energy and length. Length is going to be our trigger field tied with our energy. So after our energy reaches 0, length will become 0 as well. So meaning that when a 100 is our energy meter, that's our max health. When 100 reaches 0, it will trigger a death scene, meaning that you failed and you gotta start all over again. But the energy meter keeps you a visual contact saying, okay, this is how much energy I have left. Right? And you can also replenish that energy too with other data sources and numbers, right? So for this lesson, I'm just gonna say I have something that calculates my energy, which is this data source right here that has the curve icon, and the length will be the trigger zone connected with that length meter. Alright, so basically, since we got that out of the way, that's an HUD screen of a visual example, okay? So what I'm doing here is this is a primary score, which is my energy. It's going to be set to start 100, but it's going to be off. That means when my player touches the lava, this meter will start draining down, feeling like you're going to be burning alive in the lava. But as soon as you leave the lava, it's going to stop. So it acts kind of like it's tricking you, saying that you're actually burning, but you're not, but it's mimicking that you are. Okay? So I set the duration to 10 seconds, so it will take 10 seconds for it from 100 to 0, but that's if you're in the lava. That means if you jump in and out of the lava, it takes longer. It's only 10 seconds when you're in the lava. That's when it drains down. Now that's how you make a scoring system. Okay? Now this is a trigger system. Okay? After this is the trigger box right here. You on hit to this. When the player dies, when the player runs out of damage, he's going to die. And when he dies, you're going to trigger a death screen. means it's going to go to this camera, and then I have just some custom text. It's just say you failed. This is just an example, okay? And it's just going to say visible. So that's hidden and visible. I recommend getting more creative and putting this outside of the map and get creative, you know what I'm saying? But this is kind of like you failed, press restart to try again, you know what I mean? That's basically what it's supposed to be. It's a death screen, okay? Or revert to last checkpoint, whatever you want to do, you know, when you run out of health. So how to make this work is you would need target OPE events, which is animation events, okay? You would need interval triggers for every single one of these dotted icon events, okay? You would need an interval trigger set to 1 millisecond or 16 milliseconds and 1 tick. Make sure you select event filter to that. Make sure, okay, so our first target is make sure any of these dotted events are position X, Y, and Z to those data sources, and local is off, okay? Okay? And X, Y, and Z, when you select it, are going to be like select object. We're going to select the ball, and we're going to tell, we're going to select this dummy object right here, okay? And make sure this dummy object is set to no contact response and no collision sound, so we cannot have any contact with it. And then this, and then since those are this trigger box is going to follow this dummy object. These object info data sources are sharing the coordinates of this dummy object, so this object can follow this object at all times, no matter where it is, following the north, south, east, west, up and down coordinates of the dummy object that it's calculating from these object info data sources, okay? That was a little hard to explain. Easier to do. Now, our Y coordinate is going to be tied with a 2-input operator which calculates height between up and down, okay? But we have to send a coordinate, our operand to, with our position Y coordinate data source, or it's not going to work. Now, our operand 1 is going to be linked to a separate data source, then can be triggered as the same thing as our energy source. You see how this makes sense now? Now, this trigger zone will always be following our dummy object, but before we can get that to work, we need another setup. So we have X, Y, and Z connected to our game character, and this pointed to our dummy object. So our dummy object is going to follow the game character at all times, and it's going to be 130 above the game character, following at all times. When you have that set up, then you could have the trigger box following the dummy object at all times with this setup. So since you have two linkages working now, then we could set up our trigger event. For operand 1, we're going to have it so it's 15 meters above our character. 15 meters, okay? So it's going to be 15 desired meters, right? And the height between the game character and the dummy object will be 1.30. So we'll have an exact trigger point, an exact trigger when it hits down. So basically what it's going to do is, after 15 meters and 10 seconds, the same time as the other one, which is 100 energy points and 10 seconds, they're both going to drain at the same time, going negative numbers, and when it reaches 0, it will trigger a death cam. You understand? I'm just trying to say it in a way so everyone understands. Okay? And it's going to be off. Remember, it's going to be off. So when we hit the lava, both are going to go down. But as soon as we make contact off the lava, when we get back to the ground, it's going to stop. but it's still going to constantly follow every movement of our desired position, right? But as soon as we're touching the lava, the trigger zone will completely start calculating downwards until you get out. If you don't make it out in time, as soon as that trigger block hits your game character, it's game over. So this is a game over status screen, but a burning damage simulator type deal, okay? So what we're trying to create here is energy flowing downwards along with a trigger box. So it's easy to calculate a score downwards, right? But how do you merge a downward score with a trigger downwards activation? So I'm actually going to test it so this all makes sense. In the end, all these calculations, okay? Okay, so as soon as we start, we have 100 energy and 15 length, which is that trigger box up there, okay? Now since this is inverted, I know which way to go. Okay, so we're going to touch the lava. It's going to start draining down, you see that? And then our trigger has descended. You see, now we're down to 70 energy left. And now we have 10 meters to go, which is actually 70. So ignore the 10. The 10 is just telling you that the trigger is working. Giving us a visual example that both are merging at the same time and working. And now it keeps draining. You see, drain, 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 drain. Let's get out. Okay, and see? Now we only have 6 energy left. We have 0 length, right? Which is not accurate. Okay, because the trigger's not done yet. Now when we go in, there, it's done. You failed. So really, if the numbers are not really in sync, that's okay. But what matters is it works. We're gonna try this again. We're burning, 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 burning. That thing's going down. Now it stops. Now we're gonna burn again. The next part, burn, 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 burn. And then we're gonna go to the next area. Now we're gonna show you now we're gonna show you the effect that I wanted to show you here. Now since that it works and you guys learned, we're gonna tell it to share that coordinate. Alright, so now this thing will now share the coordinate, okay? We'll test our track. Disabled. Now from first person perspective. We got a little beam. Okay. As soon as you touch the lava, our area around us is going to be like we're burning in fire. Burn, 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 burn. Let's get out. Okay, we're out. Now let's burn again. Now, as you see there, that something went wrong. The reason why something went wrong is because we forgot to turn off the effect. So we're just gonna select this, we're gonna say turn this off, and then we're gonna go like this, do it fast, and now we're gonna be in the fire again, burning. The fire always follows my desired target. It's a little slow because the effect is not really programmed correctly. And then there we go, boom. And as I said, put the camera somewhere else so you're not in contact with the man. There you go, and then you turn off the fire and the sound has to be off. So I hope this guide worked. I hope you understood it. And I'll see you on the next tutorial. This is Saint Legend.